Hi everybody, Karis here. I am on stage at the Mary Godfrey Playhouse where 3 weeks from tonight we're going to be opening Xanadu. And we're very excited about it. Tonight's rehearsal went really well. I'm very, very pleased with our cast. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight in tonight's installment about why Xanadu. Why theater in general, and maybe why community theater specifically. When I was going to college in the late 80s, I worked with an instructor of the theater department at Dixie College in St. George, Utah, and he was pretty much approaching kind of the end of his career, and he'd seen hundreds of theater students go through the school. And I had been president of the drama club that year, and I was just sitting in his office one night, one day, and we were just kind of talking in the afternoon, and he kind of confided in me. I wouldn't really call it frustration, but the fact that he'd seen so many students go through his program, and so many of them had the attitude of, it's someone else's job to create an environment where I can come out and shine. And really it was all about, for a lot of people, not everyone, obviously. I don't want to make that grand sweeping of a statement, but I think he had seen too many students where the idea of theater was really more personal ego gratification, and at the expense of sometimes respect for theater as an art form. Maybe sometimes at the expense of respect for the people who, allow the opportunities to happen or create the opportunities, and he was kind of confiding in me that day, and he said, people need to stop focusing so much on, what are my opportunities to come out and be a star, and they need to. He kind of wished that more people were entering the theater program, or that he would see more people go through the theater program with the attitude of, theater is a great, wonderful thing, and it's great for me to get my own personal experiences in theater, but also take that next leap as far as what opportunities can I create for other people to have some of this experience. And I really took that to heart. I thought about that for a long time. Obviously I've carried that with me all my life, and I think that, the purpose of community theater, we need to make sure, and I mentioned this before, we need to make sure that the purpose of community theater as a way to provide opportunity for people, we need to not lose sight of the importance of that. I had another instructor at the same college who also directed plays, was one of the coaches of the speech and debate team, and was largely in charge of the speech department. And I was invited to attend kind of a celebration in his honor as he was he's preparing to take a leave of absence, and they threw a special event in his honor, and I was asked to actually go back and speak, which was a tremendous honor for me to be able to speak at his event. And in talking with him, some of the other coaches that he had worked with and even competed against on other schools, everyone came and attended because they had so much respect for him. I drove to St. George all the way from Cheyenne, Wyoming, just because of my respect and deep love for him as an individual. I learned a lot from him. But listening to him kind of speak with some of the other coaches and getting a little insight into their approach and what made their programs special, and as much effort as went into making sure they had a strong team and they had good competitors and that their competitors did well in tournaments, it kind of surprised me to hear them talking and say that it was never about the trophies. It was never about the accomplishment. It was never, it was never about the performance. It was always about having an opportunity to have these young people go through their program and to kind of give them what they needed that was going to be a benefit to them for the rest of their lives. And if their programs turned out to be successful, that was a byproduct. But that really, success in the term of trophies was not the goal. success in the terms of helping to create quality people, helping to form those minds and shape those people, into people that were going to contribute, people that were going to make a difference in the realm of their own families and the realms of their own communities, and that was the goal. And so I took that to heart. Two very important lessons that were provided to me outside of the academic experience by two very influential instructors that I had. So now taking that and kind of applying that to the world of community theater. Yes, community theater exists for several reasons. Of course, we want to put on good shows. We want to put on shows that are as professional as we possibly can muster. We also want to be able to make sure that we're providing opportunity for people to come in and gain some of this experience and maybe use it as a launching pad into something that they want to pursue, as they continue in their lives. And that's all well and good. But there's something deeper to it as well. My all-time favorite poem is a poem by Robert Frost, and it's called The Star Splitter. And it's about an individual who kind of baffles the community that he lives in because he intentionally burned down his house and collected the insurance money. And with the insurance money, living a very meager existence in a new house, he spent the majority of his money on a telescope. And everyone just thought that he was out of his mind. Why would you burn down your house to buy a telescope? And the person who's kind of telling the narrative voice of the poem kind of says we all didn't understand this. We didn't understand what his motivations would be. And I didn't understand it personally. This is the voice of the person telling the story. Until one night I stood up on a mountaintop with him and we looked up into the skies and we looked through this telescope and we watched the mysteries of the universe essentially unravel before us. And there are some really key lines in this poem where the man who owned the telescope, as he's trying to explain why he did this, says that one of the most important things that we're given to do in this life is to see. And the most powerful thing that we are given to see with is a telescope. It seems to me, this man says, someone in this town owes it to this town to have a telescope. And in this town, it may as well be me. Well, one of the ways in which we explore our humanity and get in touch with the various emotional realities of ourselves and the very human experience and the social experience of dealing with other human beings, one of the ways that we evaluate this is through our storytelling. And the human species has a grand, long-standing tradition of telling their stories on a stage, having actors get up and tell these stories to their audience, And, it may have been a dirt stage, but, here we happen to have this stage. So really, why community theater? This is where we explore who we are. This is where we explore what is important to us. This is where we help to establish our values, all through this grand process of very human storytelling. And that needs to be one of the main reasons and one of the driving forces behind why community theater exists. It's not just to put on shows, although we want to put on good shows. It's not just to provide opportunity, although we do want to provide opportunity. But on top of all of that, community theaters exist so that we can invite every generation to come up and go through the process of exploring this human existence, this human experience, human interaction, to tell the stories of our human culture and of the various cultures and subsets within that culture, so to help us kind of understand ourselves, to help us to better understand each other, to help us to make sense out of this great mystery of our lives. And in this community, someone owes it to this community to provide these experiences, tell these stories, and invite each oncoming generation to be part of this exploration, to join us as we explore this process. And in this community, it might as well be us. So here we are at this stage at the Mary Godfrey Playhouse, and we can tell frivolous stories like Xanadu that still kind of tell us something about how we feel about ourselves and what our goals and ambitions and our dreams and aspirations still reveals something to us about the human experience, even something as frivolous as Xanadu. So yeah, in this community, it may as well be us. May as well be happening on this stage. May as well be happening during this show. And that is why Xanadu.